Hi everyone, and welcome once again to EDU10006 Teaching and Learning in the 21st Century. My name's Beck, I'm your unit coordinator as you already know, and this is the flip recording for your assignment 1B essay. In this recording I'm going to go through the assignment overview, the assignment details, how to submit, and also the assignment criteria. This session will be made available to you in your discussion board, and you'll also be able to attend one of your ELA's live Collaborate sessions. These sessions will go through the assignment in a little bit more detail and give you a chance to ask some questions and also collaborate with some of your peers in your groups. Okay, so first of all, congratulations on getting assignment 1A in. You've done a fantastic job working through the assignment details, having a look at the criteria, and ensuring that you've utilised all of the resources that were made available to you in order to complete your assignment. So well done. One is already out of the way and only two to go. So first of all, with assignment 1B, this is building on your assignment 1A. So you already have a lot of the detail already in 1A, and you're using that as a base for this essay. The foundations are there. However, you're going to explore those ideas a little bit more, and also provide details of more research that you've done on this particular topic. So first of all, let's have a look at the details here. You can see here that the word limit for this essay is 2,000 words as compared to only 1,000 words for assignment 1A, and it's worth more here. So it's worth 40% of your mark. So it's really important that you put as much effort as you can into this assignment because it is going to form a big part of your overall mark in order to pass the entire unit. This assignment is due at 5 p.m. on Monday the 4th of September, which is week 8. So as you should know, with Swinburne Online, our teaching period goes for 12 weeks. However, there's a break after week 6. This is called Consolidation Week. So Consolidation Week is a chance for you to work on your assignments, also have a break if you are kind of ahead of the game, but just so you know that we will finish in week 6, have a week off, and then we start back again in week 7. So after you've had a look at all of this information and we go through this, there is also a Q&A assignment 1B discussion board in your learning group, and you can ask any questions there that your ELA will answer, and also your peers will be there talking about the assignment also. Okay, so let's get started with the assignment overview. So once again, this assignment is asking you to write an academic essay about how education is changing in the 21st century. So the good thing is that you've already explored that a lot in 1A, so you already have a good idea about how it is changing in the 21st century and how it compared to the 20th century. And as it says there, as pre-service teachers, it's important to be well informed and prepared for the changes in education and what's expected of you in the classroom. So really what we're looking at here is thinking about all of the ideas that you've talked about in 1A, but thinking more now about how it's changing education and how curriculum and pedagogy is changing. So if you can remember, the related learning outcomes for assignment 1A, just flip over to there were just two there. It was to define 21st century teaching and learning and describe some of the key factors that are changing education in the 21st century, and recognizing how globalization and social change is impacting on education. So when we flip to 1B, you can see now we've got a couple of other related learning outcomes here. So the first one is defining 21st century teaching and learning and describing some of the key factors that are changing education in the 21st century. So tick, you've already done that in 1A. However, you will still need to expand on that a little. However, you've done a lot of the legwork there. The next one there is you're going to compare and contrast traditional teaching and learning practice with new learning practices. So you'll go into that in a little bit more detail in your live collaborate sessions with your ELAs, and you'll start looking at the readings in a little bit more detail to understand how you can meet that learning outcome there. So the next one is for recognising how globalisation and social change is impacting on education. Again, you've explored that in 1A, so this is expanding on it for 1B. And then the next learning outcome that we haven't really touched on much, but you will be in this essay, is explaining how curriculum and pedagogy is changing in the 21st century. And you'll be talking about the readings that relate to that in your live collaborate sessions. However, this assignment is going to cover your learnings from weeks 1 to 5. So assignment 1A just looked at weeks 1 to 3. Now we're going to week 5 to explore all of these learning outcomes. Okay, so looking at the assignment details, you've got a topic question here again. The question is, how is education changing in the 21st century? What are the key factors driving change in education, and what is their impact on teaching and learning in the 21st century? So you've got 3 questions there actually, or sorry, 2 questions there to answer, and you will be able to answer that question by looking at these 4 dot points here. So you need to demonstrate an understanding of 21st century teaching and learning. You need to identify and discuss the top 3 key factors that are driving change in education. And this includes globalisation and social change, which you've already talked about in assignment 1A. You then need to explain how curriculum and pedagogy are changing, and you're going to do that by comparing traditional and new teaching practices. So thinking about, again, that 20th century as compared to the 21st century and the teaching practices that related to those times. And then you need to finally discuss why it's important for education to change. You're going to discuss a practice or an aspect of new teaching practice that's relevant to the 21st century. So this allows you to be able to look at what's happening now, what are teachers doing, what are practices that are happening in the classroom that are relevant to 21st century, and really show or demonstrate why it's important that education is changing to support our students. So you're going to support your discussion in your essay using relevant literature from the readings, the learning materials, and your own wider research. Just like in 1A, you need to ensure that you're citing relevant sources and including a relevant a reference list that adheres to APA referencing. We might have covered this before, but I will just note that your reference list is not included in your word count, but your in-text citations or references will contribute to the word count. So, you know, they don't take up too many words, so that's not a reason to avoid them. But, you know, obviously your reference list is the larger part of it there. And this is to ensure that you don't limit your research, you know, for this assignment. Now, we talk a lot about plagiarism, and you need to make sure that you're always referencing other people's work. However, you don't need to reference your own work, and you're free to use your own work. So anything that you've used in assignment 1A that's relevant to your discussion for this essay, you can use. However, as I said, because it's 2,000 words, and when we have a look at the rubric, you'll see that you're required to demonstrate further analysis and show depth of insight in your response in this essay. So there's a couple of additional resources there to support you. The referencing guide again, assignment support, and an essay writing guide. You still will be able to use the guide that was provided for 1A and tailor it for 1B here. Obviously the word counts would be different, but ensure that you're meeting those extra criteria here that weren't included in 1A. Okay, so have a having a look at the submission details. Again, you would submit your assignment the same way you did with 1A, and if you do submit it to get an originality report, it takes around 24 hours for you to receive that. Some of you would have used your tutor for your first assignment, which is a service that gives you feedback on your draft, and I encourage you to do that again for this assignment. What's going to be really important for this assignment is that you're looking at the feedback that you've received from your ELA for 1A. Choose the specific areas that really are like the biggest wins for you. What are the areas that you need to work on in order to improve your work? There might be quite a few, so working out with your ELA, which probably are the big ticket items to focus on is a good idea. And then that's something that you could take up with your tutor as well, just so that you know that you're focusing your energy in the right area. And then looking on to the assignment criteria, this is where we see the rubric again. So you would have become familiar with the rubric for assignment 1A, and this is what your ELA is using to mark your assignment. So it's really important to have this close by when you're working on your essay, and use it as a bit of a checklist as you go through your essay. So the criteria is your ELA is looking for knowledge and understanding of the key concepts here. They're looking for depth and breadth of discussion and analysis. And then number 3, they're looking for academic expression and referencing. So you can see here, to receive a pass, you can see all of the descriptors here that are outlined for you to be able to receive a pass grade. To move on to a credit, you need to meet these criteria as well. And so on for distinction and high distinction. So work through it like a list, ticking off when you have met each of those descriptors. That way you can ensure that you're meeting the requirements of the assignment, and ensuring, first of all, that you pass, and then working towards the grade that you want to achieve. So once again, as I said, your ELA is going to provide very specific feedback for 1A that talks about feeding forward. So when we talk about feeding forward, it's things for you to work on that are going to help you with your next assignment. So they would have specifically noted something in your essay that you needed to work. If you work on that, that will help you with assignment 1B. And they're also making reference to the rubric for assignment 1A. So go back, have a look at that rubric. There will be some overlap between the rubric of 1A and the rubric of 1B. So check that you're looking at the correct one, but you'll be able to meet those criteria by working on the areas that your ELA has specified. So that's my biggest piece of advice for you for this assignment, is read that feedback, talk to your ELA if you have any questions about it. They'll be able to help you to work out what are the key areas for you to focus on to experience success with 1B. I wish you all the best of luck with this essay. Once again, jump over to the Q&A Assignment 1B discussion board to ask any questions, and I will speak to you again when we come round to Assignment 2. Best of luck, everyone.